Okay, hello, welcome back to the Mad About You YouTube channel. My name is Madeline and this is episode number 47. If you are new here, and there are a few new people from the Get Your Yarn Witches Granted, or just you've happened to find me, so welcome and thank you for subscribing and for checking me out. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. It is a pleasure for me to spend some time with you wherever you are. Hopefully you can, I have a bit to talk about, so grab yourself a beverage. I have an iced coffee in my Patil & Co mug that I've loved since 2018, I think. Nice latte in here, and yeah, let's get crafting. So I probably should have taken better note of what I actually showed last time, because I don't exactly remember. It's been about 3 weeks, I think. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. It's not really an elephant. Here we are, my sizzle pot. So I finished this last night. I finished it at about 10 p.m. I think, and then, or maybe actually it was probably later. And then I washed it, blocked it, I washed it, soaked it for, I don't know, 15 minutes in some soak, wool wash, and I put vinegar because I wasn't sure how the colors would go, because there's like this really bright pink, which is Tickles, and then this, which is lipstick, sorry. So anyway, we put all at the shop. I'm so excited because I finally have a finished object to share. So the pattern is the Sizzle Pot by Leslie Ann Robinson, or Knit Graffiti. I did the triangle version, so there's two versions. There's a triangle and there's also like a square wrap. I chose the triangle just because I only had 2 skeins of this yarn. The yarn is La Bien-Aimée Merino Single, and I've actually started using my workbook again. So it's just a little diary from Kiki K that I've owned for a couple of years now. I wrote all my notes for the entwined beanie, and what I've started to do is keep the yarn tag, the sample of the yarn, and then my thoughts, notes and stuff as I go. So this was La Bien-Aimée Merino Singles, which was 366 meters per 100 grams. I used a Chalgu red lace interchangeable set. I used a 3.5mm needle, and for the most part a 55cm cord. The 2 colors, like I said, were Lipstick, which is this pink, and then Tickles, which is the white main color. And my notes that I'd written to myself is that I need to do lifelines after each section. And I weighed at the end of section 9 and I have 30 grams left of each. And then I have written a little note here. I added a cord length, but ended up removing it because it was too hard. So I think I still finished on the 55cm cable, which was a little bit fiddly at the end with lots of stitches kind of moving around, but at the same time it was less cumbersome than when I had the really long cable. Now, this is all I had. I made there's only one size. I didn't do a gauge swatch or anything. There's obviously, well, not obviously, but there is gauge written into the pattern. This is all that I have left. So I think there's 9 grams of one and maybe 8 grams of the other. I have updated Ravelry already, so if that works for you, I'm sorry, I don't have my iPad and I can't check exactly what that is. So yeah, some little single minis to go in my mini jar, which is a bit, I'm just really excited to finally have a finished object. I mean, I know I had the entwined beanie last year, but that was last episode, but a quick knit. And also I knit this for the Mad About You challenge, and I finished it. I really didn't expect that I would finish it during the challenge time frame. So the fact that it's done and there's 10 days left in November is excellent, because I've got a few things I'd like to finish before we start with December and Advent and all of that sort of stuff. I have the microphone kind of just hovering here. Oh, I guess you've seen it, I can show you. So glamorous. This is it here. Oh, I did leave, well, I actually changed the stitch marker and then put this one back in. So last time you saw this, it was at that cat stitch marker there, which I had I had 3 sections to go, I think, or 3.5 sections. And this did grow significantly when blocking, and I possibly blocked it a little too aggressive. So that's the front side, and then this is the back side here. And with brioche you get a squishy reversible fabric. And there are a couple of mistakes in here, but I actually did rip back or tink back most of them, but then the last couple I just really couldn't be bothered. So let's just move this closer to my, sorry, this might be a bit ruffly. But hopefully it'll be better for you if it's closer to my face. To my talking hole. Oh, oops, that's just my sewing machine. Okay, so finished object. Hooray! Finally. That has been my only work in progress, really. I cranked a tube on my circular sock machine, which I feel like I may have already shown you. But yeah, I think I did, because we had a chat about what they would look like. So this is Knit Picks Felici Vampire Vibes. And now that I'm finished this, I want to work on my 2 pairs of socks that I need to knit. And I will also make these into a pair of socks, hopefully by the end of the month. I had grand aspirations of cranking my whole family socks for Christmas, but that's just not going to happen. The other thing that I did here was I cranked a skein of yarn that I had, and I just thought it'd be really interesting to show different tension. So my tension was fairly consistent in the first little bit, and then I didn't move the weight properly, so then we had this flashing and pulling here, and then kind of continues, and this is just the difference in tension, and then we go back to the micro strap. So I'm actually going to rewind this and re-crank it all in one go, because I think I got a phone call and I got distracted and then I didn't move the weight or whatever. So yeah, if you crank all in one go, you typically don't have this problem. And this was like, the top bit here is about 8 stitches per inch, which is fairly normal for a sock. And yeah, so I will re-crank that and then probably make that into a pair of socks for myself, I think, because I'm a bit of a selfish crafter. All right, there has been no progress since I last showed you on either of my socks. This one is, I think, the yarn, I'm just showing you because they will be finished next time. It's happening. Yeah, so this yarn is by Rosehip Island by Hannah, and oh, it's a mess. I'm knitting two socks from the same ball of yarn, so one from pulling from the inside, one from the outside, and it's been just jumbled around in my bag for a bit, so that's why it's a mess. So yeah, this one I'm fairly sure is ready for the toe, and then I got up to the heel flap. Oh no, I've just noticed all the stitches have been pulled out, which I probably just did then. Okay, crisis averted. My little stitch fixer tool. I did an Eye of Partridge heel on these socks here, and I really like how they worked up, so I'm excited to get them done. The other thing that I'm hoping to get done by the end of this month as well is these Felici 2 at a time socks. So I think I showed you last time that I'd done a German short row heel here. I'm not exactly happy with it, so I'm in 2 minds. I'm about to start the heel on the second sock, or I'm also really contemplating ripping it back and just doing a fish lips kiss heel. I don't know, I'm really conflicted. And I put in like a heel, like an adjustment, kind of like give myself some more space, but I can't remember the pattern that I used because this was so long ago. So anyway, they're the 2 works in progress that I want to work on, and finish by the end of the month, which is very optimistic because I have a whole week of university intensive starting Monday. I have things on this weekend and I haven't actually finished the lectures, so you know. Anyway, and then this is my granny stripe, which I had some people send me some yarn to add to this, and I'll talk about that later. I don't really know what I'm doing with my aesthetic for this, actually, to be honest. And I have put a tiny bit of work into it, like 2 rows maybe, so not a lot. So yeah, this is my granny stripe. That's scrappy-ish. I was started with some color management, but we hadn't really got very far on that. So yeah, I think I will. That's just obviously a really long-term slow burn project. This is my next magic cake. And I've looked at some of the colors that I've got in here that I've put in, and I just don't think I'm gonna like them. So when I get to them, I might just cut that part of the magic cake, like cut that color off the magic cake. And yeah, we'll just play that by ear. And I did get gifted some minis recently to add to that, so that's really exciting. I guess I can go back in the work in progress basket. That's it for whips. Next we have acquisitions. Oopsies, I nearly got that on myself. Okay. I went fabric shopping yesterday. I mean, Wednesday? What day is it today? It's the 20th today. 19th? Yeah, the 18th. Thursday. I went to Spotlight and I got some fabric, and the reason I did this is because I really wanted to, I didn't need to buy any fabric, I probably have some in stash, but I want to make myself a Christmas project bag for my advents. I haven't decided what I'm doing other than knitting my advent socks. I have this one bag here which is a little sock sack, so I probably will use that for my socks, but I'm getting other advents delivered. I have other advents that have come, and I will talk about them very shortly in the rest of this acquisition. So anyway, I just thought I'd show you my fabric. I don't know when I'm getting the opportunity to sew. Maybe next weekend I'm going to Brisbane. Anyway, at some point in December, you'll see during Vlogmas, I will be sewing myself a Christmas project bag that's slightly bigger than the one that I've got. So I bought this here. It's a thick, like cotton canvas, and I bought it actually as a lining fabric, but I think that I think I've got 1.5 meters of it because it was so cheap, or on like such good discount. Or the other thing that I do sometimes like to do, like in my Finch, I'm sitting in front of it, I can't show you, I do quite like to have the pattern on the top and then like a contrast on the bottom. So that'll be really handy for some like that. I could not go past these May Gibbs like gumnut babies. It's got Australiana, like Australian flowers, and it's got little Christmas presents. So and there's like Christmas lights and baubles and stuff. So it's not overtly Christmas. So I thought that would be good to make a bag that I could use year round. No use there. Then this one here, galahs are my favorite bird. So these kind of look like galahs, and they are Christmas trees in there. So there's a tree here. Well, there's lots of different trees. So that was just kind of like an offcut. It was what was left on the bolt. I think it cost like $4 maybe. It was really inexpensive. And then this here is koala fabric, which I absolutely love. And so I want to make a pencil case for school. Like a shark. The pattern is actually of a shark, and the way it works, like the zipper is the mouth. So I thought that would be. I've seen it done in like really like a pretty floral fabric. So I thought I could do that for this, and then if not, it'll probably become a little project bag. And then I bought like 1 meter or 2 meters of this, which is just Christmas trees, and it'll be a really lovely lining fabric for whatever I decide to do. I also want to make myself a Christmas notions pouch. I have a couple that I made for myself a few years ago. I think I've got one handy that I've never used. Actually, my little thing of giveaway bags. It's kind of super wonky, if you can tell. And I made this, I think, with the intention to give it to my cousin because she loves Disney, but I never did. And it's a bit shoddily made, I guess. It doesn't have a lining, like the batting was my lining. So I don't feel comfortable giving that out to somebody. Or maybe I will. It's like a circa 2016, 17 when I got my sewing machine. I didn't know what I was doing at all. But anyway, so I'm gonna make myself a couple more no-chain pouches that are Christmas themed, I think. So that's my fabric acquisitions. I can just go back in my Christmas basket. Okay, I'm going to talk about Advent. Oh no, we'll do this and then we'll go to Advent. Oopsies. So I bought a bag from Patil Knits. They are Patil Knits on Instagram and Etsy. It's the business card here. I don't think that's focusing very well. Hello. Anyway, I will link to the shop below. Got a lovely card and some they're actually stickers for my orders. Oops. Yes, so maybe this is going to be my sock sack. I can't remember. I did buy it for that. So this is the Christmas bag. It's like the Christmas village, I think it's called. So like there's some cars, like with a Christmas tree and some presents on the roof. But on your side, can you see that? There and here, just like bunting and Christmas trees and stuff. So that's really cute. I think actually that will be my Christmas sock bag. So yeah, I purchased that and that arrived. Then I have received a few things. I did the Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted, which happens almost I don't actually know if it happened last year. I didn't see it. But anyway, if you follow me on Instagram, you would see that I post, or hopefully, depending on the algorithm, you would see that I had posted the tile about it. So basically what happens is you search the hashtag, which is hashtag Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted 2021, and then you grant some people some wishes. So it might be sending them some type of yarn or like anything. I typically do patterns, like I'll buy people's a pattern from their Ravelry wish list, but then this year I also sent out quite a few things which I popped in the post yesterday. So I'd like to say thank you to Katrina, who sent me some mini skeins for my cozy my crochet blanket, and then she also sent me some partial skeins from her stash, like this here, and they will go in my blanket nicely. I've got some yellow in there already, and then this from Fiber Lily, which is really cute. So actually what I think I might do with this one is make some of those yarn sleeves on my circular sock machine, just so that they hold your yarn so that it doesn't kind of go crazy. So that's lovely. And then she also sent me some other minis here. So this is a DK. It's a Quokka Tail from Great Southern Yarn. It's a DK 25 grams. And I have a few of these now, so I might actually make myself a colourwork hat or something with that. And then this here is Yarn and Colours mini. That feels like it could be cotton. And then I do love orange, so that's really lovely. And then I love that colour as well. And then this is a grey. And this is fingering weight 4-ply. It's a sheepis well, and it was licorice yum yum, and it's in the grey colourway. So thank you very much for that, Katrina. I also had some lovely people like Ilsa and some international people grant me wishes for patterns. So I now own sorry, nose is itchy. I now own the Ricane pattern. So my Circus Tonic is, I'm going to make a Ricane next year. I also got gifted the Solaris shawl pattern, which is good. I've got the yarn put aside for that here. And there was one more thing. I also did get pattern wish gifted. And then the biggest surprise, I mean, I shouldn't be surprised because Susan is lovely. So I got distracted by what I got. So how it works, yeah, you grant wishes, and then once you've granted some, you can put a tile up on your Instagram feed and you say, look, I've granted some wishes, this is what I'm after. So I said Ravelry page, I only have 3 patterns in my Ravelry wish list. So I said Ravelry wish list patterns, some mini skeins for my my granny stripe, and then I said if people could check out my YouTube channel, and if they liked it, I didn't say like subscribe straight away, but like obviously watch a few episodes, and if you like it, then I'd really appreciate you just subscribe and follow, like and subscribe, that sort of thing. And then Susan, who is the beautiful Dyer behind Ash and Eve Designs, said, I'd love to send you some minis. And I said, thank you, that would be lovely. Thinking like, you know, a unicorn tail or something, like 5 or so. This is rustly, I have to warn you. She sent me 24 minis. So I was just completely blown away by her generosity. Yeah, I was speechless. I'm still speechless. Thank you very much, Susan, for that. Completely blown away. So once I got gifted this, I decided to do the reverse, get your yarn wishes granted. So basically what happens is once you've received a few things, if you want to, this like everything's obligation free, is that you put some things up that you would like to give to people. So if you're a pattern designer, you might say, I've got 10 patterns to give away from my Ravelry shop or my Gumroad or whatever. Or I'm a dyer and I have this, or I'm clearing out my stash and I've got blah. So I said that I had some yarn that was in my Will Trade or Sell, actually, which reminds me now I need to move that because it's been gifted. And then also that advent kit that I had from last year that I hadn't used yet and I really wasn't sure what to do with it. And then I bought that yarn there to make that blanket that I wasn't, it's December in Queensland. Like, I don't know why I thought it would be a really good idea to knit myself a DK blanket in December. Like, I would still love to do that, and I think the gradient in Susan's yarns that she gave me would be lovely for that, but I think I'm actually going to make the Radvent throw with Susan's yarn. So which is not, I need to clear that with her actually because she sent it to me for my blanket, but my blanket only does 10, is for 10 gram minis, and she has sent me 20 grams minis. So I'm going to, I'll just check if she's happy, then I reconfigure how that works. But I was having a chat with some of my knitty friends last night, and I was thinking about doing a different granny square blanket with my minis because I've got some coming. Yeah, all right, so that was things that I was, oh, I've cut my finger, gifted. I'm gonna do advent calendar talk now. So I've got 2 advents. I've actually got 3 because I broke my yarn band yesterday. Thank you to Mel from DownUnderDyer. So the first one I want to talk about here is the Narnia, which is a 24-day advent plus a 100 gram mini skein from Sarah. I don't know if it's Sarah or Sarah. It doesn't have a H, so I automatically presume Sarah, but it could be Sarah. And Emma from Daffodil Road Yarn, which is Daffodil Road hand-dyed yarn. I've talked about them before. I have 4 skeins in here, put aside ready for a project. I'm still up. There's a couple ideas I have. So anyway, I impulse bought this back in April or May. I knew I wanted I was planning a 24-day advent calendar, and I saw theirs, and it was Narnia themed, and like, I'm not a massive Narnia fan, but I saw their mood board, so the colors, and I just went, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So it arrived about a week ago. It came in this like big solid box, and I opened the box. Oh no, it's got it's got packing. Oh, there's more stuff in here than I didn't even notice at the bottom. There's packing peanuts in here. Oh, I really haven't unlocked this properly. Okay, so if you have this and you haven't unboxed your box, you need to follow the instructions, because there are 3 boxes you need to do different things with that aren't yarn related. They were like the bonus ones. So I had bought this like Christmas basket, I don't know where it was, to put all my advents in, because last time they came like wrapped in little bags or brown paper. So I thought that would probably be the same. Turns out it's not. So the bonuses here, I've got something from Valley Soaps. Don't know which one that is, but there's a little card here. Daffodil Road, obviously, and then Mark My Stitches, a stitch marker designer. So I hadn't actually seen those before. There's a couple of candy canes in here, which is lovely. So it's kind of coming apart a little bit, but or it's not coming apart, it's just not in order. And I probably could have taken the packing peanuts out and helped this situation, but I didn't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, 12, 7. Oh, okay. Before Vlogmas, I will get myself sorted out. So, it came like this. Oh. So I have, there are some bonuses. So it's Narnia themed, like I said. So there was a box called Lion, and I think that had to go in the, like somewhere dark and dry. So I put that in the pantry. And then there was one called Witch, and that might have had to go in the fridge. And there's another 2 called Wardrobe, and another one called C.S. Lewis. And then these apparently they like all stack together to make a Christmas tree. So that's funky. I obviously haven't done that yet because I wanted to show you all of this. And then there is the day 5 skein here, which is wrapped up separately. So haven't quite decided how I want to display that for Advent. I might just take the packing peanuts out and leave it in this box. So that's from, Sarah and Emma. So I'm really excited to open those. And then this one is from this. Okay, so I think I bought this first because I said no Advent this year. I've already got one I need to knit through. And I bought that. I can't remember which order, but anyway, I decided that I was do this and I would knit a pair of socks over Advent because I figured that's probably doable. Like I really got behind on my Advent blanket last year, and December is really busy. Like I think I have I've got one assignment due on the 3rd. I have another big research thing due on the 24th. I want to do Vlogmas. I've got a couple of trips to Brisbane for work stuff, uni stuff. So I'm going to be busy. So yeah, I thought I would do just the socks because they're portable. You take them with you, whatever. Probably still going to do something else actually, if I'm honest. But if you don't want to see the rainbow and sprinkles spoiler, you need to look away now. It came with one full skein. Okay, so what we got, let's start again. 100 grams of Bee Jolly, 24 stripe yarn split into 2. This is this here. So it's a mystery, but it's not really a mystery. And so that, I think, let's just pack it up now in my Patil knits. And I will probably knit these socks 2 at a time, I imagine, because I feel like that'll just be easier for me. I can put some needles in there and get that started. Then it comes with 100 grams of strawberry donut, which is a self-striping. And the thing I really love about Rainbow and Sprinkles is that they skein, cake your yarn up, and then they put it, like wrap it this way so you can actually see the stripe. So I will probably actually, if I'm not going to use this anytime soon, either knit with it or crank it, I will probably reskein it just so it's not so tight. And then 2 contrasting heel minis, Night and Berry Pink Gin, this one here. So I don't know which is going to go with my socks, or maybe I'll just knit. I don't know. And then that's all 75% merino, 25% nylon. 2 sets of exclusive needle stoppers in Doe and Christmas Tree. And I feel like I've got a bonus because I have 3. Oh, plus extras. Okay, I got another. So these 2 needle stoppers, which are a bit cute. So I'll probably chuck them Christmas tree ones in that bag. And then I also got these, which is really lucky because I was about to buy some on their website recently. And then a enamel pin, and then a back to basics sock pattern, plus this sticker which says Team Knit. So I wanted to actually put my stickers that I've collected from different places on my circular sock machine table, but I haven't actually been brave enough to actually do it yet, so I might do that. And then it came with this sock pattern here, which is called Back to Basics, and it looks like I think it's just a vanilla sock, which says toe up directions, doesn't have, and it has cuff down stockinette. Oh, okay, it's for an afterthought heel. All right, well maybe I'll actually follow this pattern. Cool. In the little, I hope it fits. Yep, in the bag it goes. Perfect. Look how great that is. Done. My little Christmas knitting, Advent knitting. So that's it for Advents that have arrived. I also, like I said yesterday, I did quickly purchase Mel from DownUnderDyer, who's become quite a good friend of mine. She had some leftover yarn mini kits, so Advent kits, and hers are only 10 grams, so I bought it with the idea that it would go in my blanket. Now the other thing I just thought of, I'm just going to check my notes. I have a bit in the blather. Oh, I have one more acquisition. I bought these Christmassy stitch markers here from Mo and Me, from Peter. So it just came with a 5, and then she's given me some extra as a bonus on there. So I think I will put one on my on one of my Christmas bags, I think, and then I might give the others away, or I might just be really selfish and keep them. So thank you, Peter, for the additions. And yes, I purchased these, and I got those little tassels as a bonus. All right. Okay, so while I'm still like in Advent land in my brain, I just want to have a quick sip of my drink, and then we'll have a quick chat. Uh-oh, I've just put ice in my mouth. I don't want to spit it back in my cup. All right, so while we're talking Advents, I was watching Nitty Natty, which is also Love and Stitches on YouTube. She's not someone that I regularly watch, but I saw that she had been Advent planning. And I saw that she has, she makes granny squares with her Advent, or leftovers from her Advent, and they take 10 grams. And I was kind of wondering what to do with my leftovers from Lily and Lola from last year. And then Mel's is 10 grams, which I did buy that for my blanket. But I do quite like crochet blankets. I like crocheting. And I kind of sitting here going, I don't know what to do. Like my Louie and Lola could go in my blanket, but it's just not super cohesive. So the other thing that I kind of thought I might do is, most of them are 10 grams. I would crochet a granny square, and they take about 8 to 10 grams apparently, and that's something Natalie has a pattern. It's free on Ravelry, and she has a video tutorial, like she has a YouTube video tutorial, and then written tutorial notes on her blog. I know how to make a granny square, so it's not super, you know, it wouldn't be too difficult for me. The other thing is I really love hexagons, so maybe I could, instead of doing granny square, I could do a granny hexies with my yarn. And that way, if it takes like 10 grams, then when I have made, you know, that could be another, because I need another scrappy project, like a hole in the head. But I feel like the advent calendar is something I will probably do most years, just to support a local dyer. This time I have gone somewhere different. So last year I had two, one from Western Australia, one from Tasmania. This time I've got one from Sydney, which is Mel's 10 gram mini skeins, and I've got another one from Tassie, which is the Daffodil Road. Plus I've got the Rainbow and Sprinkles, which I think they're Western Australian as well. So, and then I've been gifted basically an advent kit from Susan, and she's in Queensland too. So yeah, these are the things that are ruminating in my head right now, and I don't know. So watch this space. All right, let's talk about shop news. My Etsy store is open. Now I wanted to show you, I'm really not super prepared for this. My business cards have arrived. My Etsy shop is open. I have not yet made any sales, which is fine. I haven't advertised this, so you're hearing this first. It's called About Ewe Studio on Etsy. And basically I'll be cranking, you send me your yarn, I'll crank you a tube and send it back to you. And that way you can get through your stash quicker. I'm gonna knit up a couple of pairs of socks that I've got, which I'll be able to gift for Christmas and whatnot. So I think maybe if you look at it, it's not like the cheapest thing. I think I've set my price at $22 per tube, and I've set it at that price because I'll receive your yarn, I have to wind it a couple of times to get it in the right type of cake or onto a cone to go through my machine, and then it takes me time obviously to crank the tubes. I have to pay, my machine costs money. You're not paying for that. I have to oil the machine. I also have to use up waste yarn and whatnot. So that's set at a price that values my time and also is not completely unreasonable. And I set it that price based on what I had seen from overseas as well. So I'd really love it if you I'd say love it if you checked it out, but at the same time, I think Etsy's algorithm isn't great. So if you're not going to buy it, it's not good to go check out the shop. Anyway, if you feel like having a wander over, you can do that. You can search About Ewe Studio on Etsy, or you can also just go to my website, and on my website, which is madaboutewe.com.au, there's a link up on my, well, it'll be on this side for you. It's says blog, show note, podcast, Etsy, or down the very bottom of the page there's also the little Etsy symbol, and if you click on that, it'll take you to my shop as well. So yeah, and all the details about that is on there as well. So yeah, this is my logo and my business card, and then all of my details are on the back here. If you buy from me, you can find out my last name, but it's not something I need plastered on the internet just for funsies, but it's on here. So yeah, that's cute. I've got some little stickers that have arrived and some other things which I needed, so that's good. So yeah, I'd really appreciate it. I just thought also I would show you what the socks look like once you've had the tube cranked and then put in the afterthought heel. So this is the pair of socks I paid to have this tube cranked. I haven't worn them yet because I haven't woven in this end. But I had a hung hem put in, which I don't remember if I've offered that as an option. If you want it, you can leave me a comment. I don't love doing them, and I don't love it necessarily on the sock, but it is an option. And then you just cut in. So I used contrasting yarn, and I can't remember what pattern I used. And then just knit your toe. So I am in the process of, I've written up all the instructions. I just need to take the photos. So when you order from me, you will get at some point, you will get a PDF which shows you exactly how to cut into your tubes and knit your afterthought heel and toes, etc. So yeah, that I need to also knit those socks probably soon so I can put the photos in my document. And then also I've got links to YouTube videos that other people have put together. So this is one from Jude of Stranded Dye Works. Craft House Magic, Ellie, has a really cool video about how she does it. And then there's one other lady which I found, and they're the ones that I like the best, but there's some options for you in case you don't gel with a certain person. So yeah, socks that were knit on a circular sock machine. All right, blather. It's Vlogmas time, almost. So this will be the last sit down episode, I think, for the year. Actually, no, I lie. There'll be one more, and probably after Christmas, in that week between Christmas and New Year's, I'm going to sit down and do a 2021 wrap up or year in review. I've started, my last blog post I think was me talking about what I wanted to get done in November in preparation for December. And so it'll probably be kind of like Stacey Elstone, where she wraps up 1 month and then what she wants to do, but it'll be wrapping up 2021 and what I've got planned for 2022. So I know how busy I'm going to be because I've spoken to some people who are 6 months ahead of me, or they've just graduated or been registered as teachers. So I'm extremely optimistic about how much time I'll have. But that's okay. I'd like to be optimistic. I've got travel plans for next year as well, which I probably won't talk about on that. It'll just be 2021 projects in review. So I'll talk about what I made. If I can remember, I will like work out the meterage and that sort of thing. It's not going to be anything massive because I think I've finished 8 projects, and one of them was a throw I knit probably half of last year. So, you know, that's just a bit of fun. I like to kind of do a year wrap up. But yes, so that's kind of jumping all over the place as I do, which some of you tell me you like, so thank you. Yeah, so Vlogmas, I'm still undecided about how I want to do that. So if you leave me a comment below, I'd super appreciate it. I was having a chat with some of my other podcasting mates about what they like to watch, and I was thinking that I would do 5 days in a row, edit them all together and then upload, so it's like 1/2 an hour video. But I kind of enjoy sometimes watching the daily ones, which are in snippets. So if you watch this, could you comment below what's your preference for Vlogmas? I might end up doing like editing and exporting shorter videos, but they might not always come out the day after because sometimes that's just not possible because life. I did write some notes for this part. Having some discussions with other podcasters, YouTubers, and makers. I just want to, oh, there's my notes. I just do one whole straight record, but I've just talked about something and I think it comes off really not how I want to. I just want to say I've been having some conversations with some friends of mine who are podcasters, or they have quite public Instagram accounts, and I just like to remind people that the internet can be a really awful place. I've been fairly lucky that I haven't had anything like that from my viewers, but I do watch quite a few different people's videos and there are some weird comments. So just some tips. Most of us don't do this for, it costs us time and money. We don't do it for freebies, and I've only just started being donated things for this channel, and I've been doing this since 2018. And then the other thing is I'm totally happy to take on board constructive criticism, but I just like everyone to remember that this is a free service that I provide, because I love it, and I've loved the friendships that I've made because of this, and the people in my life is much more rich for having done so. But at the same time, when you're watching my videos or other people's videos, if you could just keep in mind that, yeah, this is free for you to enjoy, and I love the fact that you do come and spend some time with me. I really do. And I haven't had any rude or mean comments, well, recently, but I have seen some kind of entitled comments on other people's videos, other like friends of mine's videos, and yeah, the internet is it's a wild place. So that's just something I wanted to point out. I had a bit of a rant before, but I think that's a nicer way to put it. I really appreciate each and every one of you tuning in, particularly as we come to Vlogmas. Like, Vlogmas is something that no one has asked me to do, so if you don't want to see it, sorry, but also could you please watch my videos? It's a lot of effort because you have to think about things that to do, and then also can be awkward for the people in your life. Like last year I didn't have anyone featured in mine, and this year I probably won't either. It'll just be kind of like me doing what I'm doing. There's one day I'm driving to Brisbane with a girl from uni, and I'm probably gonna have to tell her and be like, hey, this is really weird, but can you record some footage of us, like while I'm driving, we're carpooling, can you record some footage of the drive and whatnot. So yeah. What else did I have on my little list? I talked about uni already. The intensive starts again next week. I mean, it's already started, but the face-to-face stuff starts next week. I've got my placement sorted for next year already, and I'll be volunteering at that school 1 day a week next year. January looks absolutely bonkers, just with the stuff I have to do with the school, plus my next uni intensive, but I'll be done in June. I can't even believe it. And I feel so good. It's like a vacation. I don't know if I have recorded since I finished my placement. I think I did. I think I have. And if not, we can do it in the year in review chat if I remember. I think that's it from me. Hey, I didn't write exhaustive notes. This is Today is Saturday the 20th of November. I probably won't get this up until maybe tomorrow or even early next week. For 2022, I'm really planning to have a regular upload day. That's another thing. If you could pop a comment down below. So there's 2 comments or 2 things in your comments. 1, what's your preference of Vlogmas if you watch Vlogmas? And if you don't also, then that's fine. Yeah, what's your preference of Vlogmas? Like I thought kind of 5 days at a time might work because it's like blocks of 5 to 25. But also I could just really keep the daily ones short and then maybe just upload them in batches as well. Or, and then the other thing is, what day would you prefer, or does it matter? I feel like my engagement is all over the place because I'm all over the place. So I'd really like to make that a little bit more consistent, because I have 500 or so of you who are subscribed, but I think I only get between like 200 and maybe 300 views per video. So only. How bonkers is that? I appreciate each and every one of you. There's no correlation. So I thought maybe if I'm consistent, then that might change. But also I'm not consistent with when I watch people either, so who knows. Yeah, I think I forgot to say at the top of the episode, but if you'd like to find me on other places on the internet, you can find me as Madbell on Ravelry, Mad About Ewe on Instagram. I just looked at that and I was like, it's not 74, it's 47. And I have a website, which is madaboutewe.com.au. Show notes are available down in the description box for this. They're also available on my website. You will find links to my Etsy shop, my Ravelry, this channel, which kind of backwards like loop, over on my website as well, or Instagram, and I'm most active on Insta. Final thoughts that I forgot. 10 days left of the Mad About You challenge. If you entered something against the hashtag and you have a public profile, perfect. You don't need to do anything else. On the 1st of December, I will be putting excuse me, that hashtag into a random number generator thing, and it will choose someone, or I might have to do it post by post and pop them into an Excel document and then random number generate that. Haven't quite figured out what's the best thing to do, but I will figure that out and I will let you know the winners. So there's 2 prizes for that, and my latest Instagram post will tell you all about it. Thank you so much for joining me. Today has been a long one. I know that because I usually record in a continuous loop and I've got like 4 different videos I'm gonna have to splice together now. So really appreciate your company. See you at Vlogmas. Bye.